Are we on now? Let's see. Oh, there we go. I think we're back on. Okay. Yeah, we are back on. Craig, see if you can jump on here. Well, that was annoying. Okay. Well, sorry about that, everybody. We had some technical difficulties with the microphones, but our expert, Mr. Craig Steffen, came on here and seemed to have fixed them. I think you were right, Rick. I think we did have to default that. It looks like the default settings reset. So that was not wrong. Okay, so here we are.
Hello. This is Craig Steffen.
Craig and Company.
A little bit of a feedback here, so check.
Okay.
Can you go to?
You're not on.
Testing 1, 2, 3. I can hear myself.
Okay. Let's see how we're doing. Yep, we're both on.
Test, test, test. Okay, that seems to be working.
Okay.
Same but there's a lot.
Okay.
Whoa.
So here we are.
Turn this down. I'm just getting a lot of feedback.
Okay.
How's that better? Yeah, I think it's a little better.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so we are.
Oh, good. Okay.
The game on Sheet B got off a little late, but we are in part 2 of the stream. Part 1 of the stream had some issues, so you're watching part 2. Here we are.
Is there no no game on Sheet C?
Nope. No game on Sheet C. We just got these 2 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, those were. The final got a little dicey. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Kind of tough to steal after the ice box with no guards.
So
okay,
I
so
will be
let's
on
fill
the,
you in on
the
everything
ice at
we got here.
The next draw with the Nutmeg team.
Over on Sheet A, we've got Cape Cod, Team Ottaviano, versus the Toronto Cricket Club.
Toronto Cricket Club.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then on Sheet B, we've got the Boston Curling Club playing the Toronto Granite Club. Okay. So if you were here at the club at some point, you've heard Joel Leneker, our chair for the GNCC here at Nutmeg, gushing over the Toronto Granite Club and says if you're ever up that way, you need to get over there. So
a little bit swankier than what we're used to here at Nutmeg. I hear there's like an exercise room and a pool and all kinds of interesting things. And maybe we'll get to check it out next year when Nutmeg.
That's an excellent point. That's a
this is a 2-year cycle.
It's an invite, and if you get invited one year, you get invited for a second year. You have to play both years, and it's get to play once here in the United States and then once in Canada.
So this is the 2018 Ross Tarlton tournament, which is between the Ontario Canada Providence curling teams and the GNCC curling teams. Oh,
I'm going to lead Craig to it here.
Okay. There are more GNCC teams. Whoa. I don't know what that noise was. There are more GNCC teams than there are slots available in the tournament, so there is kind of a rotation that happens through the GNC clubs. Since Nutmeg is a host this year, along with Ardsley Curling Club, we did get a space for a team. All right, let's go check out the actual curling. very often with our league play, we will record the games and without voiceovers. For some of the Bonspiels, we are able to bring in people to cover the Bonspiels. Sometimes it might be better with just the view, although we do our best. We're a bunch of amateur broadcasters. So on sheet A right now, a little bit of the red team, which I am now going to hunt for my list of teams. There's the list of teams. Okay, I'm actually going to walk around a little bit and check out the sheets and see who's on which sheet.
What's the actual origin? Like,
we just talked about it.
No, but like.
Yeah, I got the
Okay, over on sheet A, we have the Toronto Cricket Skating and Curling Club. Oh, so it's not just the cricket club, it's a skating and curling club. Vaughn Hibbets, Dave Pelletier, Derek Sims, and Rob Greenaway. On sheet A, against the Cape Cod Curling Club number 1, Bob Ottaviano, Phil Bruce, Todd Benedict, and Steve O'Neill. I'm sure Craig already announced these, but I think it's useful to have it because I think he restarted the broadcast. Sheet A right now, the team with the Red Stones, okay, has a handy lead, 6-1 in the 4th in. Actually, they are in the 4th in right now with Red up 6-1. I'm assuming that the signs are placed over the rocks, so that would mean the Toronto Cricket Club is currently leading 6-1. On sheet B, we have the Toronto Granite Club. And they are playing the Boston Curling Club. Where's the Boston Curling Club from? Which
It's a Broomstones.
Broomstones? Okay, so it's a Broomstones Club. Okay. So the Granite Club is Joe Ross, George Denier, John Simpson, and Patrick Horan. And the Boston Club. Okay. That's why they're the Boston Club. Got it. And the Boston Club is Bob Chandler, Sam Williams, John Wilson, and Brad Glazer. And they are starting. They're in the third inning. I just called it an inning. In the third int. I'm a baseball fan. Sorry about that. And it looks like, if I can check to see the score here, yes, it's 4-0 with the Boston Curling Club up, and they have yellow. So this is a competition between the Canadian teams and the U.S. teams, GNCC, and the Ontario Canada Curling Clubs. And it is actually what's called a point spiel. You get obviously points for winning a game, but you also get points, I believe, for every stone that you score. And I believe you get points for each in that you win. I would need to go back and check and see on that. But those points add up over the entire weekend. And there will be an announcement on Saturday night at the big gala dinner down in Stamford that will reveal the winner for this year's competition. Total points competitions, all games count. Ties are not broken. And the country taking the most points wins the spiel. Okay. Oh, okay. I see GNCC teams will throw the first rock at each game. Ontario teams will throw red rocks, with GNCC teams throwing yellow rocks. Oh, okay. So ends one need not be recorded, only final rock count. A mercy rule is in effect. If both skips agree, a game may be ended after the 6th end or 7th end, anytime there is a 10 rock differential. I'm going to go over, switch to overhead look at the ends, which are currently active. And now you can actually see the scoreboards up above the houses. And it is now 7-1 on sheet A, with the red team in front, and that is the Toronto Curling Club over the Cape Cod Curling Club. So the Canadian Toronto players are showing why Canadians are often very good curlers. But on sheet B, the United States team from Boston Curling Club is actually holding a decent 4-0 lead at this point in time. The games are 8 ends. There'll be another draw tonight at approximately 7:45, I believe. I'd encourage all those nutmeggers out there to tune in and watch, because the nutmeg team will be on the ice. Our temporary one-night skip, Greg Doucette, and myself will be on that team, along with, I believe, Rick Sheridan, and I can look us up right here because I'm blanking on our 4th person. Oh, Skinny Larry Busheri. Yes, that's great. And actually, the chairman for the entire Ross Tarlton event, Nutmeg's own Joel Lineker, will actually be back on the ice tomorrow with us. He's been quite busy setting up the tournament and getting everything lined up and ready to go. So red is trying to mount a comeback on sheet B. This is the second Vice's stone. Looks like they're just going to try to draw in underneath the guards and be counting 2. The stone's on its way. The sweepers are walking along nonchalant. Looks like they think it's got plenty of weight. May have a little, oh, you know what? Now looking at the speed of it, he may be trying to do a hit and roll off that yellow stone. Makes perfect sense. And now they're sweeping hard. They are going to get the hit and a little roll. And they're going to guard their own stone nicely, and so they got 2 reds in a line there. They are close enough that there is a chance of them being doubled out, and that is what the Bostonian team calls for immediately. They're going to go to eliminate the front stone, and if they hit it just right, they can get the double. And it's definitely a takeout. It appears the Boston team may have lost one of their players. They've only got 3 players on the ice right now. I don't know who's missing. Okay, they got the peel. They got rid of the front stone. I will admit I didn't see which handle he put on that, so I don't know whether it over curled or it just was narrow the other way. Over on sheet A, red is counting 2. Yellow is now trying to put one in. Looks like they're going for a hit and roll off the front red one. They're going to miss the front and jam on the back, maybe? No, okay. So unfortunately, they just wiggled the back one and then spun out of the sheet. So red is still, I believe, counting 2 on sheet A. So on sheet B, having lost one of their red stones, they're going to put it back. I don't know how much it's curling. Haven't been watching enough. So he's either drawing in underneath or he's trying to put the guard up. We'll watch this one and see how much it curls. So it looks like there's not a lot of curl. I don't know if he was on the broom, but he had the broom a couple feet to the right. That's a little bit hot. It's going to go sailing through. The other skip is going to sweep it right out the back. All right, so I am sure.
Just to make it easier.
Okay, so Boston curling is yellow, and they're immediately calling for the takeout of the red stone on the 4 foot. And the stone's on its way, and the sweepers are just kind of calmly sliding along beside it. So it's on target. It's going to get it. Unfortunately, it looks like it might spill out. With the lead they have, that's okay. They don't want to leave one sitting there for an easy hit and roll to hide under those guards. They're going to force the other team to actually draw underneath and get a good clean guard, not leave them an easy stone to hit and roll off of.
Would you be able to do that next time? Thank you so much. Right, so to do and so what you're gonna have to notice is on the wall there, see the card, team card G. Nutmeg is already up there. Cool. Right? The team that nutmeg is other side, the back side of one of those other. Played like my first 4 games on C, right? And then I have the other cards over here to take out their stuff. And then on the back wall. Oh yeah, you're doing good. So 745. Yeah, it was good to see you. Yeah, 745. She was always friendly.
Oh. Ooh. Oh.
Okay.
Are you
Put
on?
the voice meter.
What's that? Oh.
Okay. Yep, we're good.
There we go. You're back.
Yeah, I just like to turn down the mic. I don't, because if I hear you in the earphones and hear you sitting next to me.
Yeah, the echo.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
So what should we focus on here, B?
Right now it's got both of them, and I was, so you can see both sheets, and they're both playing this direction. Although this is the hammer, I believe. No, this is not. This is the last rock without the hammer. Yellow trying to build their lead.
And this is the
Yellow
Boston
is the Boston
Club.
Curling Club. So they're looking to draw in underneath those guards. And right now over on sheet A, I believe yellow may be counting 2, but certainly counting 1. So they're trying to mount a little bit of a comeback for the Cape Cod Curling Club. This looks like a decent draw if it curls. Doesn't seem to be curling much. Did you see earlier? Looks like it's only getting a couple feet of curl at best. So he let that stone die so he can use it. This is the last shot. This is red, which is the Toronto Granite Club. And there looks like they're just going to call for the simple hit and stick for 1.
No, I didn't. I honestly.
I don't know why I figured I got too much running around to do.
Okay.
I don't know why I thought I could do it. I want to.
Let's see, the second draw is at 7:45 or.
And then that comes off and he goes.
All right, so they got the takeout. Red picks up 1 stone. It's now 4-1 on sheet B. Boston Curling Club is perfectly happy with giving up 1 with a 4-point lead. Now they've got the hammer coming back in the 5th in. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That had to have been the.
Yeah, it was funny.
I'm a little confused here. Let's see. Oh, sorry, that was the third in. So now they're coming back in the fourth in. All right, no longer confused. And it's 4-1. Okay, I want to leave it on this view until after this last shot on sheet A. It looks like we've got 3 stones left. This is the first stone with the hammer on sheet A. It's coming down the ice right now. And they're calling for a nice guard out front for the Cape Cod Curling Club. And actually, they're trying to draw it in underneath, and it is actually going to go in. That probably, I take it back, was probably the call, but they're coming up just short. So yellow will still I believe, be counting 1. For those in Canada who might be watching, unfortunately, we don't have a camera directly pointing down at the sheet A far house, the scoreboard house. We have direct, straight down cameras for all the other houses, but not for that one. So on sheet A, the Toronto Curling Club has a comfortable lead, and so they're just looking to make sure they keep cruising along. They're now taking their last shot, let's see here, without the hammer. And they would like to just draw in and out, count those 2 yellow stones and leave a difficult draw for the last shot. So my guess is they're going to try to put this red stone right on the top of the, right biting the forefoot underneath the high guard. Stone's on its way. The sweepers are on it pretty hard. They think it needs a little help. A guard would actually be okay. It would just give up 1. They would love to be counting after this shot, but I don't think they're going to make it. Oh, they're a little bit narrow, and they clip the front guard. All right, so yellow has a chance here to get a little bit of a comeback. They certainly could bump a stone in and get 2. It's an interesting question whether or not they could split in 2 and get yeah, I don't think so with those red guards out front. And the call is immediately with the broom. It's just to go ahead and draw it and get their 2. So they're going to go for 2 the easy way, which is a simple draw. I was wondering if they might be able to split in the front yellow and get 3. But problem with that is if you miss it, then you miss an opportunity for 2. So the Cape Cod Curling Club gentleman is coming out of the hacks. He's actually using a stick, and the stone is on its way. So we'll see if he's got the right amount of weight. Looks a little toasty, but I don't know. I haven't been out on the ice, so I don't know how slow it is. And is he going to be around the guard, or is he? He's inside, right between them. They're sweeping really hard, and I believe they've got it. It's going to go right into the 8-foot. There it is. There's 2 yellow stones, and it's starting to make a bit more of a game out of it. It'll be 7-3 at the end of 5 hits. Okay, so I'm now going to switch back and switch views to the warm room view. There we go. So now you can see in the background there, you can see the warm room with the glass and all the tables. And if I wave my hands, you might even be able to see where I'm sitting in our extremely fancy broadcast, spot. It's not actually a booth. So you see on sheet B, they've already thrown a few stones. Pretty clean house. 1 yellow stone in the house. Red's got 1 point and it's yellows. So yellow just at this point wants to keep the front clear, no guards, maybe a few stones in the house, and they're going to split the house. They're going to split the house very nicely. At which point they're perfectly happy to trade hits and take their 1 and keep marching on with a nice lead. Now the way that a Toronto Curling Club can counter that is to come down and sit on those yellow stones and possibly be counting one and hard to get rid of. And that is indeed the call. Only calling for about 2.5 feet of curl, so it seems like we don't have as much curl here tonight as we have had recently. We've had up to 3.5, 4 foot of curl. So it does change. Every game is different, and the ice gets worked on periodically. And so depending on exactly how they prepared the ice, may not have as much curl as we have had. This stone came out a little bit narrow and over curled. It did make it into the house, but it's not out counting either of the yellow stones. So Boston Curling Club immediately calls to come in and kind of slightly protect their own yellow stone. It's interesting. They could have gone to just take that red stone out. They choose not to. They're going to put up a guard on their own stone and be counting, possibly counting 3 from the call that was made. That's what he's indicating now with his brew. The sweepers think it's pretty good. Now they're on it to kind of polish it and finish it just so. And it's coming in nicely, and it looks like it's pretty much exactly what the skip ordered. Actually, I have to say I'm impressed. That's right where he called for it at the beginning of the throw. I believe I understand that the Boston Club is made up of people from 2 different Boston area curling rinks, from Broomstones and one other one, and I don't know what the other one is. All right, so Toronto Granite Club immediately calls for a takeout on that stone that was just put in place. Hits this just off the nose, so he can get rid of 2 of them and be sitting fairly well. So it's definitely a takeout. A lot of speed. Both sweepers are on it. They're both on the same side of the stone, trying to get it to curl a little bit. So they're trying to do a little directional sweeping to get a little bit more curl. And they got first contact and a little bump, and they got rid of one, and they actually moved the other ones far enough out that the 2 red stones are now counting 2 and 3. So that was a decent shot. Would have loved to have completely gotten rid of that yellow stone, but that's okay. You know, the Toronto Granite Club skip thinks about trying for the double on the 2 front reds, but then decides to go for the draw. He's going to go ahead and use those red stones and draw in underneath them. Yellow does have the hammer. All right, the draw shot is on its way. The sweepers are pounding on it hard. I think this may over curl. It could hit the front guard. But okay, it's actually gonna miss. Now the question is whether it's gonna be slow down enough to stay in the house, and it actually is looking quite good now. Slowing down and starting to curl. It's not gonna curl enough to be hidden though. Yeah, so it's going to be vulnerable. It's going to leave a nice hit and roll opportunity for the Toronto Curling Club, the Toronto Granite Club. Over on sheet A, we got a takeout screaming in, and certainly going to take the front guard out and maybe chip out a red one in the back. Okay, the guard has been removed and it's opened up the shot. So that was a good shot. Remove the center line guard and left the center open. Red has the hammer there on sheet A. Okay, the takeout on sheet B is on its way. Skip was a little bit nervous, kind of walked away from it, and I think that they might have pitched it just a little bit. It's not going to come out, not going to come back enough, and it's going to be a flash. I have to say I kind of knew that from the instant he let go, because the skip kind of turned away and gave it a look of, darn it. And sometimes you just know that a shot is missed. So Boston Curling immediately calls to protect that 1 point they got sitting there in the 4 foot. So they're throwing a draw. They don't even need to come in the house. They just want to lead the stone in line of their stone on a 4 foot.
And I think he realized he didn't like it. But he doesn't know. We were joking about that game.
Okay, so Yellowstone came down and slightly over curled, and the corner freeze on the red. The corner freeze is okay, but it does still leave the shot on the 4 foot, the counting stone, vulnerable to be chipped out. It's hard to hit and roll behind now, but they can still chip it out. And that appears to be the call, judging from his broom position. This is all now. The problem with this shot is he could chip the yellow out, and he could actually jam on the other yellow, which would be. And it's not clear if it'd be out counted by the reds. Looks like it probably would. If it does jam, the red stones will still out count it. So that's okay. They can afford to jam. They're likely to lose their own stone though on this shot if it hits it with enough force to get rid of it. All right, shot's on its way. And I'm thinking they're both really sweeping hard. I think they're going to hit, yeah, okay, they're switching. They're going to a plan B. They're going to try to bump their own redstone up because the shot was a little narrow. So, hey, sometimes plan B is what you got to do, and they're going to get contact. They're going to move the redstone, but not enough to actually squeeze between the two reds. Okay, but yellow's still counting number 1. Now, the Boston Curling Club does have a little bit of a problem, and the red one that just kind of snuck in there could be chipped over and into the yellow, but it's a hard shot to get rid of the yellow. So they're probably, he's thinking about it. He may put up a guard. He may go ahead and draw another one in.
That was my first year. Did your team lose?
Well, no, we won 2, and then we made it to the quarterfinals. Yeah, we were in the quarterfinals, and then we lost to the guy from Rochester.
All right, here we go on sheet B. They're throwing what I believe is let's see which handle it's got on it. Yeah, they're just kind of split the house even more. They're trying to put it over next to their other yellow. They could easily be counting. Well, they'll be counting 2 if they do this right. They got to sweep hard to get it there, though. They got to stay on it. Got to stay on it. Okay, it's going to come up a little bit short. And
I don't know. I was still like, that was my first time ever seeing. I was like terrified to draw. You know what I mean? Like to win the game. They had 2 rocks in the house, and I could have drawn, but I was like, what if I'm short? What if I take it? Blah blah. Like then they win. So I was like,
okay, so
and the worst thing is that I still
Toronto Granite Club is again trying to take out. The skip is looking like this might just do it if it curls enough. The sweepers are off of it. Oh, and it's not going to come back enough. It's going to just, if anything, tickle it. Oh, and it just missed. Okay, so that counting stone is still counting in the 4 foot.
And Don is standing there watching the rock behind the tee line, and it's like not like I hit it with a ton of weight and it's definitely going down. It's like he's just watching it, and people are like sweep, and he like finally, but like it just barely made it out of the ring, and I was like, oh my god. Then it went to the 9th inning. I barely remember. They got a couple of guards up and stuff, trying to hit and deal and whatever, and I never could.
So Boston Curling is going to try to draw underneath the guard they left on the last shot. Came up a little short, so now they're just going to use it. Shot's coming in. The sweepers are on it. It looks like it's curling quite a bit, but it is coming in nicely. And yellow is going to be counting 2. Let's take a look at this house from the top. And that was it. They're kicking rocks. That was 2 for yellow. Sorry, I didn't get there quick enough. Now let's go back.
And then if we lost that game.
They're kicking rocks there. They'll start going the other way. Okay, we'll check out sheet A for a little bit as they finish up. See what we got here. Looks like a pretty open house. 1 yellow stone out in the 12 foot and a possible biter in the back. Let's take a look at near A. Okay, where is my near A?
Johnny was off. Don was off. I was like, we knew right away.
He is no, I mean, he
kid. He just had a kid.
There's my near A.
Oh, he did?
Bring it over.
So he's
And it looks like that red stone in the back might actually be a biter. Okay, yellow is trying to put another one in the house, but they come up a wee bit short. So they have another corner guard that they can hide behind, but that was obviously a little bit light. Let's switch back to the full view. We can watch a little bit of the curlers coming out of the hack on sheet B.
didn't see it for a year. Didn't see it for a year. Comes back the next summer for Harper. Like, I'm not going to be here next week.
So we are on Skip's Rocks on sheet A. Pretty empty house. Got a few yellow guards up front on both sides. And yellow actually has the hammer, counting one right now. I take that back. Red has the hammer. Yellow scored last in.
I know he was continuing to
Right, because I had gone out and had beer with him a year and a half ago.
All right, you saw that draw on its way on sheet B. And he came up a little bit short, just makes it across the hog line, so it's still in play. They actually drug it a while, so they brought it close to the house, but not in. Over on sheet A, we have a takeout on the far outside Yellowstone, and it's tough to hit them out there because they can slide off into the wall, but it looks like he got it. Well, he hit it, but did he get enough to get rid of it? Yes, he did. Okay, so the second to last stone, the non-hammer shot, Skip's second shot. He's got a nice empty house, so he would like to probably just put one in underneath the guard and see if he can steal one here. But that's an empty house, so he may just want to put one right up at the front and make that draw as hard as he can.
a little too close to realize I'm in the middle of the walking.
Okay, here comes second to last shot on sheet A. And it looks like he's throwing a draw, but he may have overcooked it a little bit. Coming in now, the opposing Skip is ready to sweep it out. See if he tries to fire the retro rockets, but it's not going to happen. So, yep, they're going to sweep it right out the back. A little too much. Okay, so red with the hammer will be shooting for two. And all they have to do is bite. I believe all they have to do is bite the house. Again, that back left red one on the camera does appear to be in. But it is close. And the interesting thing is sometimes the camera lies on these. It looks like it's in and it's not. But judging from the fact that the angle is up, I'm pretty sure that's a counter. We'll find out soon enough when they put the score up.
Welcome.
Bob, recognize your face. Hi, Bob. You're from. Well, welcome. Yeah, looks like there should be a packet.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. So there should be a packet here for you. Our change rooms are any two rooms here. You may use either one. And in the packet, there are rules of play, schedules,
That's probably the wrong way to go.
That was the last three. You told him I was on the team too. He would have been happy.
Don't worry, Bob. You'll be able to
It
have
was true, because that first year, I remember.
Okay, they'll be putting up that score soon. Now we're both coming the same way. So I'm going to change back to the scoreboard houses. Watch and see what score they put up there, see if they did get two or just one. Would one of you two gentlemen like to grab me a Diet Coke?
Only Larry.
Well, you said there were three of us here, and you said you two gentlemen. So which one of us was not the gentleman?
I didn't see the one who actually was the gentleman who went to get the Coke.
So we're the gentlemen.
Because John's, yeah, John was blocking. All right, so here on sheet B, we got 2 yellow stones out front and a red counting stone. Oh, there's also a yellow on the 4-foot, which is currently the counting stone. So,
Caffeine or the not caffeine?
caffeine. The Boston curling team. They're going to try to remove the Boston curling team stones. They got one of them in a little bump, but oh, they actually bumped the other one in, unfortunately. So it didn't curl enough for them. Got rid of one, but left 2 more in 2 in the house. Although it looks like right now, well, let's just take a look here. Let's go to sheet B from the top. I'll watch this a little bit. You see the 2 yellow stones now in the house, but the yellow's counting 1, red's number 2, and then there's a yellow out there in the front counting number 3. So yellow immediately calls for the guard on his stone up front, trying to guarantee the steal of 1. And the guard shot is on its way. Looking pretty good. It needs to curl a bit, hoping for it to come in a little bit more and make it into the back to the center line, and it just barely does. It's a nice shot. Guards the counting stone, although the gap is just wide enough that they may be able to go through it. And they're just immediately calling for the takeout. And if they hit it in the correct way on the inside of the stone that he's got his broom by, he can actually get rid of both of those yellow stones and be sitting with another red in the house. What he really wants to do is open it up so he can get to the counter on the 4-foot.
We have a packet for you. We have 2 change rooms.
We'll stay with this overhead view here for this shot.
Either or.
Shot's on its way. It's got a ton of heat. It's definitely going to move some granite if it hits it. There is a possibility of a field goal here. Sweepers are not on it, so they think they like it. I'm thinking we're going to get 1 and maybe 2. Boom, boom, and there they go. All right, nicely done. Cleaned them out. Does still leave the yellow one on the 4-foot, but it leaves it vulnerable now to running the red back into it. All right, let's switch our views here so we can see both houses that are in play. Over on sheet A, we got 1 yellow in and 1 red, both in the 12-foot, with the yellow counting kind of hiding behind the red. And red did get 2 in that last in. Okay, so they have a commanding 9-3 lead in the 7th in. So the Toronto Curling Club is definitely in control of the game over the Cape Cod crew. All right, Joe Lineker, our chief in charge of this whole Ross Tarlton here at Nutmeg Curling Club, is welcoming another team from Canada.
Okay, so we have a packet for you for Nashua. It has waivers in it.
Okay, so this is a GNCC team from Nashua, New Hampshire, I believe, that just walked in the door. We'll be playing in the next draw. Hello, Nashua.
We may be a little bit late because
we have GNCC teams from Broomstones, from Nashua, from Potomac, from Utica, from Ardsley, from GNCC Executive Team, Boston Curling Club, Cape Cod 1, Cape Cod 2, Rochester, Ardsley 2, GNCC Trustee Team, the Pittsburgh Team, the Triangle Country Club Team, or Curling Club Team, the Plainfield Team, and your very own Nutmeg Team. Okay, so yellow tried to throw one down. Red tried to throw one down there and ended up cooking it a little bit, went a little bit too far into the back 12-foot. So that gives the Boston team a chance to draw in and be counting 2. They could what they want to do is be counting 2, but also make it harder to get rid of it. So they want to put one probably in the top 8, in the 8-foot, but it's kind of acting as a guard and counting. Stone's on its way. The sweepers are on it pretty hard, so it may be a little narrow. Looks like they're going to have to settle for a high guard. I don't think that was the call, but that will do them some good. Yeah, so I think they wanted that a little closer, but it is an effective guard. Slightly over curled for them, but it still makes it hard to get in there and get rid. They can draw down to the yellow, but they're not going to get rid of it. That just makes them work a little bit harder for the draw. Is this Nashua? Welcome to Nutmeg. Nashua's making the lawyers happy, signing their releases.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so over on sheet A now we have red is counting 1 and yellow's counting, I believe, 2 and 3. Yellow has the hammer, but red has a substantial 9-3 lead. Oh. The Cape Cod Curling Club trying to crawl back into that game. They got quite a mountain to overcome though, because there's only 2 ins left.
They're not bonus
Okay, so they're calling for a draw down to the Yellowstone, right? Just basically a draw to the button on sheet B. Red does have the hammer. This looks like it's a little bit toasty. It's going to go back and sit on the back red. No, it's slowing down, but it's going to be a little bit hot. He's going to pounce on it and bring it back into that clump of reds in the back. So unfortunately, that didn't do him much good. Slightly overthrew it, and it slid through the house. The sweepers knew it. They weren't even sweeping. So it takes approximately 10 seconds for the opposing skip from Boston to set up to put up a guard. And again, a perfect shot, I think, would be, just inside the 8-foot, so they were counting 2. But really all they need is the guard to block that draw that they just tried. Stone's on its way, a little bit wider this time. And the sweepers are walking along with it lazily. They think it's got about up. Now they're hitting it a little bit. So they're trying to bring it a little farther, and it's starting to slow down. The ice is often slower out in the wings. That looks like what's happening. So they're all sweeping now, trying to bring it in enough to be an effective guard. Okay, they're over the hog line, a little bit wide, but it actually, that far back, actually does a pretty good job of blocking the house. It makes it very difficult to get one into that other yellow stone. So yellow's in good shape right now on sheet B. All right, so Cape Cod did manage a takeout on sheet A, and is now counting 2. So Toronto Curling Club should counter with a takeout. I'm sorry, it's actually Cape Cod is now throwing another stone, so they must have missed the takeout. So Cape Cod is trying to be counting 3. They're throwing calling for the draw in underneath those 3 guards out front. On sheet B, they're still trying to sneak one in. They got to just miss the front high guard and then just miss the center line guard. I'm sweeping really hard, so they think it's a little bit light. And the line is okay, but I think it might just chip the guard. Yeah, it's going to slow down and just tickle it and end up as a guard itself. All right, they're pushing rocks. Okay, that was actually the hammer right there. So they didn't get one in there, and yellow scores 1. So over on sheet A, yellow was, which is the Cape Cod Curling Club. They were able to put another one in the house. They're counting 3 right now, but unfortunately they didn't bury it, so they left it open. And so Toronto Curling Club is most likely to just throw a takeout here, and they got a couple ways they could do a double. So yeah, they're setting the broom up right next to us. So this will be an upweight takeout. If they hit that stone just off the center, they can chip out at least 2 of them. There is actually a fun triple here, but they're probably just going for the double.
What happened to sheet C?
There's just 2 draws. Yeah, for this one. There'll be 3 draws at whenever we play, 7:45 or whenever it is.
So anything about the rules?
Rules? There's rules? Yeah. What is this thing? Rules. All right, the takeout's on its way on sheet A, and it has some weight, and we're going to be moving a bunch of granite here. And boom, boom. All right, one's gone, and he's sweeping hard to get rid of 2, and oh, it's going to dig in. Okay, but it moved enough, so actually they got 1 yellow and 1 red. They're looking at them. So I do believe we have 1 shot left. 1 shot or 2 shots? Looks like we got 2 shots left. Okay, so yellow has the hammer, and this is the first skips rock for yellow. Okay, we'll stay with this view because this is the sheet sheet A is the one that's closest to the end. Right now, over on sheet B, we have 2 guards out front, 1 red, 1 yellow, and nobody in the house because the opposing skip is sweeping out a draw. Oh, it dug in and stuck in the back, so we do have one in the house way back in the back. Yellow's got 1 stone way in the back of the house. We'll switch over that momentarily once sheet A is done. Let's take a nice looking shot coming in here near B. I'm just going to quickly put it on. You see this draw coming in underneath. Oh, it was actually a nice shot, but it didn't curl enough, so it's not hidden. But it does leave the Toronto Granite Club counting right now with 1 in the back 4 foot. But it doesn't take Boston long to figure out that they don't like that stone, so they immediately set up for the takeout. And the takeout is on its way. So we'll stay with this overhead view of sheet B and see if they get this take. Stone's coming in plenty hot. Looks like it might be a little wide, but it's going to get enough and does the takeout. Okay, let's switch back over here so we can see what continue watching on sheet A. We got Yellowstone coming in. They're going to try to draw it in for counting 2, and they're going to just bump the red and be number 3. So we'll stay with this view because it is now time, I believe, for the hammer on sheet A. Yellow is counting 1 for sure, and looks like they're just going to draw for 2, okay, and try to make a game of it. Yeah, it's too bad they can't figure out a way to chip that front red one out and get 4. But I just don't see any way they can do it. And they don't either, so they're going to go for the simple draw.
So your team box, your team packet, there should be 4 that's where it would be. Yeah.
So you can see on sheet B, the man with the stick coming out, and he's throwing a draw around left side, and looks like he's got a pretty good weight.
What do you think?
Okay, watching the draw over on sheet A, which I take back. I didn't realize it was still one red stone left, and so they're just trying to draw one in and be counting, but they came up a little bit short. They're going to do a little bump and wiggle on the front guards. Okay, now yellow will have a draw for 2. So Cape Cod Curling Club skip is all ready, or the vice is all ready to go in the house with the call. A simple draw. It looks like they got to be full 8 to get their 2. Now, it is possible that this is for 3 because I can't tell how close the red one is in front, but judging from what I can see, it looks like this will only be for 2. All right, so sheet B is on its way. Let's take a quick look at sheet B here. See what we're looking at. Got one yellow in the back. Got a red coming in that curled a little too much. It's just going to jam and put up a little bit more guard action. Oh, they might be able to sweep this in. Yeah, look at that. It's actually going to be counting. All right, so I don't think that was the call, but they'll take it. Over on sheet A, the draw for 2 is on its way. They're sweeping really hard. It must be narrow. Yeah, it's a little narrow, and it's a little fast. Yeah, oh, it may jam on the back one, though. That's going to give them their 2. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see whether the angle was wrong and they actually got 3, but they definitely got 2. Well, let's switch back over here to sheet B just in time to see the takeout, and leaving yellow counting 2. So yellow definitely taking command also on sheet B. So for our first draw, the 2018 Ross Tarlton, off and running. Okay, so over on sheet A, yellow did indeed get 2 points. It is now 9-5 and 7 ins. So yellow has a pretty big challenge. They need to somehow dig out 4 points without the hammer. Definitely non-trivial, but not impossible, just hard. On sheet B, we have a nice draw coming in around the front guard, around the close guards, and it's going to be a little bit hot, but it may jam on the back yellow and be counting, and it is slowing down. He's sweeping hard, and it is counting. Okay, so red trying to figure out a way of mounting a comeback, but they did leave that stone vulnerable, and yellow will probably I would just come down and pop the red out and not worry about losing your yellow one since they've got a nice lead. But I'm not on the ice, and they're calling for a run back of one of their yellows. Little tap back, a decent shot. With the lead they have, but they switched, and they're just going to go for the draw. They're going to draw down and use the red stone as backing. No real reason to chip the red out. Again, they just want to make sure they get their 1 here. Draw shot's on its way. The sweepers are walking calmly. They think it's got plenty of weight. Now they're on it a little bit. Maybe a little bit for line. Make sure it's around. Oh, it's actually digging in. So they got to sweep hard. They're going to chip the guard. It's going to be close. Oh, they made it. All right, they should be able to sweep that in nicely and and score. Be counting. Oh, actually came up just a tiny bit. I don't know. Don't know who's closest. The Vices don't know either. They're taking a little bit of time to look at it. Came up just a couple inches short there to be counting stone. Okay, we can now switch to this warm room where we can see both games at the same time. You see the situation on sheet B, which is fairly complicated with I don't know which stone is counting. I think the back red is. Take again a look at the top here. I don't know. It's too close to call from here, from the overhead camera. Nice split house on sheet A. little surprised that the Toronto Curling Club has got in. Well, I mean, in the house is fine. They just don't want any guards, so that's fine. Okay, sheet B got a draw coming down. They're just trying to come around the Yellowstone and make sure they're counting at least one, possibly two. Again, it's too hard to tell between the front yellow one in the 12-foot and the back red one in the 12-foot. They're sweeping hard. They need to stay on it to bring it in. They're going to get it. They're going to be in, and they're going to be counting number one, but they're not going to be buried. So they're going to leave a fairly open takeout. And that is what the skip is, or what the vice is signaling. Actually, what stone are we on here? I got to try to count them all up and see if this is. Actually, I think this actually is Skip making the shot. Vice is on the stone, and he is calling for the takeout. On sheet A, we got a nice takeout weight coming down, but they swept really hard, but it overcurled, and they just missed. Okay, takeout on sheet B is on its way. Sweepers are trying to keep it from curling. They're really sweeping hard on one side of the stone to try to hold the line, and I don't think they got it. They jammed the guard. Oh, a little craziness happening, and they bump a Yellowstone in. Oh, well, all right. Nothing like a plan C. I don't think that was the planned shot. Sometimes you take what you get. So they actually ended up kind of careening a Yellowstone guard right into the house, counting and buried. So they're happy with that. Maybe not feeling too skilled, but you know, sometimes luck goes your way. So now Toronto Granite Club is trying to decide what to do with that annoying Yellowstone that just got chipped in. They could come down to it. They could draw down to it through the port. That appears to be what the call is. All right, over on sheet A, we got what clearly appears to be a takeout coming in. I'd like to hit and roll over a little bit, and it's just going to hit the nose and stick. They are counting, but it's wide open. All right, the draw on sheet B is on its way. The sweepers are walking along calmly. They're both on the same side. They're trying to keep it from curling. Looks to me to be decent weight, but I think it's a little narrow, and it's going to jam into the guards. Oops. Darn. Got another takeout coming in on sheet A. The Yellowstone took out a Redstone, so the Redstone takes out the Yellowstone. Pretty straightforward for Red. They just want a clean house, and so they'll just be shooting at anything that they can hit. But they actually are counting 3 right now. I know that total stones matters in this tournament, so Red doesn't mind piling in a few here. It's a little bit cruel, but it's part of the game. Okay, so yellow is trying to return the favor on sheet A with a takeout of their own. On sheet B, we've got a draw through the port on its way. They would not care if they ended up guarding this, but they'll take another stone in the house. Sweeper's pounding on it. Still pounding on it. Looks like it's got plenty of energy, actually. So he's going to do a little bump. Okay, he got a nice guard out of that. I did not see which handle he was throwing. He may have been intentionally throwing that way. But it makes it quite hard for Red to get in there now. So the Toronto Skip comes down to take a look. They start a little bit late on sheet B. They must have. They're only in the 6th inning. All right, so they're pushing stones on sheet B, so they just decided not to throw the last stone, and he took it. Didn't want to do any damage. So the Toronto team decided to not risk their throw. Or what they were worried about was actually bumping another yellow in, so they just basically threw their stone away. We'll stay on this overhead view for a little bit as sheet A finishes up their final end. Cape Cod Curling Club basically playing to play them down and kind of keep them from running away. Although right now, the Toronto Curling Club has got a handy lead. And just sitting 3. Take a quick look at far B here. Got a nice heavy draw coming in. It's actually going to be a little bit toasty, and it's going to just slide out the back. Didn't even need to sweep it. Just a little bit heavy. And we'll go back to sheet A, which is finishing up their 8th in. Sheet B is a little bit behind, still has 2 ins to go. I don't know whether we're on the clock or not. Okay, got a takeout on sheet A, and it's oh no, slipped through and missed everything. So Red is now going to be able to put another stone in and be counting 4. Looks like they're going to split the house. Over on sheet B, Red is trying to protect their 1 stone that's counting. Oh, they got it by the guard, so they might as well just bury this one too and be counting 2. Both of them behind the yellow guard. So that's looking pretty good for Red for a little bit of a, possibly mounting a little bit of a comeback. It's still early in the end, though. It's a good start. Okay, got more teams pouring in for the next draw. Oh, yeah.
Perfect weight.
Well, I'm check over here and take a look at this, because sheet B yellow is now counting. Actually, they drew one in there nicely. Let's go back to sheet A where they've got a draw coming in, and it's coming in right towards the 4 foot. Let's take a look at that. Let's change this so we can get near A. You can see that Red is counting 4, and oh,
A little separation there.
Well, unfortunately, I missed a very beautiful shot there on B. He actually came down and chipped the Yellowstone right out of the house. So that was a pretty one. Right where that broom is sitting, there used to be a Yellowstone, and now it's gone, so he's trying to put it back. And looks like it's going to curl in, but it's going to be maybe a little bit hot. It is going to be counting, I think. Oh, he's sweeping hard. And it dug up. Yep. All right, so yellow is counting, and here comes the last Yellowstone on sheet A. So right at this moment, the Cape Cod Curling Club is counting, but their Yellowstone is wide open. So this actually turns out to be fortuitous for the Toronto Curling Club. They can take that Yellowstone out, handily win the game, and pile up a whole bunch of points. Okay, let's go over here, back over to sheet B. Red's shot is on its way. So that's the Toronto Granite Club. They're going to come down and sit on the yellow back or just be underneath the guards and counting. They're a little bit narrow, though. They're a little bit narrow. So the sweepers have to stay on it. Still moving. There it comes into the house. Got around the guard. Little bump. Okay. So yellow is still counting. That was just a little bit too narrow and bumped on the guard. So Boston Curling Club, which is yellow, immediately calls to draw another one in. They want to, I think he signaled to put this in the middle of the 8 foot, and would love to have it. I think he wants it to be counting underneath the guards, but something happened. They must have burned it, or it came up way short. Watching the video, and I wasn't watching what they were doing, but suddenly the stone was kicked off to the side, so either they burned it or it came up way short. Okay, so they're done over on sheet A. I believe that Toronto Curling Club got 5, so that will make the score 14-3 for the final. I'm sorry, 14-5 for the final on sheet A. Toronto Curling Club over the Cape Cod Curling Club. Okay, sheet B. Red's shot on the way for the Toronto Granite Club. Definitely a takeout. He's going to try to chip out the back red one. The weight is good. And, all right, here comes it. Oh, and actually he's going to just chip it. And red is now counting 3. Actually, red is counting 2, possibly 3. But there is an open draw to the button, and that's immediately what they call for the Boston Curling Club. It's actually not the Boston Curling Club. It's 2 teams from the Boston area. 2 of them are from Broomstones. I must admit, I don't know where the other 2 are from. So the clapping you heard was for sheet A coming in off the ice. Boston Curling Club shot is on its way. They're sweeping hard. There's only one sweeper to try to add a little curl to it and curl it right in. Looking very good. Going right to the button. A beautiful button shot. The problem is it actually needed the curl a tiny bit more to be buried, so they can still chip it out. That's immediately the call. Let's see if the Toronto boys got the Canadian swagger here.
You guys pass along the extra order, or
Okay, the chip out is on its way. The sweepers like it. They're trotting along with it. It's got plenty of energy. It's question is whether it's too wide. And it's starting to come back. It only needs a little touch. Oh, beautiful shot. Oh, it jammed. Okay, so red is still counting 1. A little bit of an unlucky jam, but they just wanted to get rid of the counter. They, but they do need stones to have any chance at all here. But they are counting right now. They're counting number 1, and number 3 for sure, or maybe tied for 3, and certainly number 4. So yellow is just going to draw one. They got all this backing back behind the tee line, so they're just going to draw one in. I take that back. I think they may be going for the takeout. Just judging from his broom right next to that red stone, I think he is just going to take it out. They just want to make sure red can't score too many points, so that makes sense. All right, stone is on its way. It's got plenty of weight. Sweepers are walking along next to it. Don't think they're going to need to do much work. It's all about the line here. Oh, now they're sweeping a little bit, so they're probably looking to get a little bit of a roll.
No, I just need
but it's going to nose it and just stick around. Oh, tiny roll. Okay, so yellow is definitely counting 2, but it is exposed. And this is the hammer's first shot. Yes, so red has the hammer, and this is the first shot for the skip. And the skip is skipping down the ice. He knows what he wants. He's going to try to hit and roll. Okay, takeout's on its way. Got plenty of energy. The sweepers are wandering along with it. Don't seem to think it needs any finishes. Oh, now they pounced on it, so it must have gone a little narrow. There it comes. It's going to again hit the nose and a little roll. Actually, it was just off the beautiful shot. Beautiful shot, buried behind the guards, counting 1. Nicely done. So for the Canadians who might just be listening, quick readout of all the Canadian teams that are here. We have the Nolda Curling Club, the Gulf Curling Club, Mississauga Curling Club, the South Muskoka Curling Club, Oshawa Curling Club, and apologies, that's Oshawa A and Oshawa Curling Club B, the Galt Curling Club, the Gulf Curling Club B, Niagara Falls Curling Club, that's the Canadian side, Thornhill Curling Club, Unionville Curling Club, Lakefield Curling Club, Lee Side Curling Club, the club at North Halton, TCSCC Curling Club, and the Granite Club is on the ice right now. Okay, draws coming in. It's looking pretty good. If they sweep it hard, they're going to get a nice, it's going to be counting, but it's not going to be, it's going to be, actually it's a little half, it's about half buried, maybe 2/3 buried, so it's a good shot. And it is now time for the hammer. So if he throws a nice straw, he can bring it right down and get 1. Not as many as they were hoping for to have a chance at a comeback, but they're going to go for it. Try to put it right down on that Yellowstone. It slid just a little bit far, so all they have to do is sit on it. Now he's looking at the possibility of a slash raise to see if he can get more than 1, but that's a pretty tough shot. It looks like they're going to go for the draw. So we got more curling coming up at 7:45 or thereabouts. It'll probably start a little bit late because this game's going a little longer than I expected. I understand there was a bit of a delay. Maybe there's a team didn't get here on time. But it is the first draw, and there was a lot of traffic. So the second draw this evening may start a few minutes late, but it will feature 3 full sheets of curling in the 2018 Ross Tarlton. Okay, the draw for 1 is on its way. The sweepers are kind of pounding on it. I'm thinking it might be a little bit light, and they think it's light, and they think it's going to be on the front guard, and it is. So it's going to be 1 yellow, okay, for the 7th in. And we'll see if, I see some shaking going on, and they're going to clear the ice, and we're going to get ready for the second draw of the evening. So I see our ice crew on their way out there, And that is going to finish up the first draw of the Ross Tarleton. And I'm going to actually go ahead and stop the stream so that we have separate streams for each of the draws. So this is Craig Steffen from the Nutmeg Curling Club signing off because I got work to do. Hang around and watch us Team Nutmeg in their first game with Craig Doucette's actually going to be skipping in place of Joe Lineker. He'll be skipping for the rest of the games. Larry Boscheri as vice, myself as second, and Rick Sheridan as our lead.
Natural.